it starts with the question. If you make $1 million, are you rich? And the people who are watching on YouTube right now, you can just answer that question in the chat, like in the comments. If you make $1 million, are you rich? That's a good question. And some people would say yes, other people would say no. I would say it depends. How long did it take you to make it? Because if you make $25,000 a year and you work for 40 years, you've made $1 million. Are you rich? No. What if you make the same $1 million in 1 year? Yes, but it's the same amount of money. So it's not the amount of money that makes you rich or poor. It's how fast or slow you make it. Wealth denotes speed. So my philosophy is this: either get rich quick or you'll stay broke for the rest of your life.
So you might as well.
You might as well get rich quick.
It's funny because you see on the internet, everyone's like, oh, it's a get rich quick scheme. It's like, right. I hope so. Like, otherwise, what's the point? Yeah.
Exactly. Like the quick means, to me, get rich quick to me means in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Right.
Before it's too late. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. While you still have enough energy and vibrancy in your body to enjoy it and to give money to the people that you love and the causes that you care about. Like, while you can still make a difference. Like, why travel the world when you can barely get out of a car, when you can travel the world while you got vitality?
Yeah. 9 years from there to here. And the question people are asking is like, well, okay, what's the tangible? Like, how do I start? What do I do? And I know you do a lot of stuff around offers and challenges around like creating your own offer. But I think initially people understand is like the first thing is like for you to be successful, you actually have to have something to sell, right? People all the time like, I'm on the internet trying to make money. I'm like, what are you selling? I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm trying to make money on the internet. Like, how do you start?
Yeah. So
phase number one.
It's, believe it or not, it doesn't even start, in my opinion, it doesn't really even start with having something to sell. It starts with the ability to solve somebody else's problem. I did a whole video on the fact that money is not wealth. Okay, if money is not wealth, what's wealth? Wealth is your ability to solve problems for somebody other than yourself. Because if I can solve a problem for somebody other than me, that person will pay me the money they have in their pocket for the solution that I have in my mind. And so I have to become an active, aggressive, other people problem solver. Right? That's where it begins. And so one of the reasons beginners have a hard time making money is because they're attempting to solve their own money problems instead of seeking to solve somebody else's life problem. If you solve somebody else's life problems, if those life problems are big enough when you solve them and there is a big enough pool of people who have them, you will solve all of your money problems.
Yeah. It's so fascinating. It's just an interesting reframe. Because you're right, I bet most people listening who are struggling, it's like, that's the question.
Right. Even when you're teaching, even when you're talking about sales, the reason people struggle with sales is because they hope the people they're talking to buy. When I'm selling, I'm totally divorced, totally. Like, I don't mean kind of, sort of, or pretending to be. I am totally disconnected from the outcome of this conversation. I am only seeking to serve. Remember I told you about the $25,000 program that Annie Grace bought? Yeah. When I first offered that in, I think, 2005, that was my $3,000 offer. Same exact content. Just, I think a lot of times what we think is that the price is only determined by the value of the offer, but the price is determined by the value of the offer times the value of the audience. And so I was teaching people who were in multi-level marketing how to make money in the seminar business. And they had enough money to pay $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 or $7,000. But when I started teaching people who had like significant multi-million-dollar businesses, this is how you monetize standing on stage and selling to an audience. Like, the amount of money that, like, I don't sell that course by itself anymore. I sell it in a mastermind that's like 55 grand. And we have probably 130, 140 people in that program. And it's $55,000 per year. We have people who've been in it for 3-4 years. And so, and that's just one of the things we teach. But the idea that little $3,000, I created the price at $3,000 because I knew nobody was going to pay me that amount of money. And when I stopped selling it by itself, I was selling it for $30,000. And that, it's mind blowing.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first one.
I joined a mastermind group with Matt Fury, who he was the wrestling guy, right? So I was like, I'm a wrestler. So I connected with him mentally. I'm like, I love this guy. But I jump on this teleseminar for my very first coaching call. And I remember, I don't know how many people were in the room, but he's talking for a little while and then he has a hot seat. So his first guy comes up. I still remember the guy's Brooks Cubics. I ended up buying all Brooks' stuff. One of my favorite people. And Brooks is like in the weightlifting market. Like, he lifts weights and he has a book called Dinosaur Strength Training and these DVDs. And so Brooks is on like, hey, Matt, what would you do if, like, to me, to like take my business to the next level? And, he's like, I got a $20 book and a $50 DVD teaching weightlifting. And I've got, however many, 10,000 customers. And Matt's like, well, you know what you should do? I bet you there's a percentage of those customers who would think it was really cool to come to your house and actually lift weights with you. You should put an offer out to your list, charge $5,000 for them to come to your house, and you'll get 10 of them to show up, and you make 50 grand. And Brooke's like, that's amazing, I'm gonna do it. And I was like, huh. And then the next person got on, and I think they were an artist, if I remember right. And same kind of thing, I've got a product, I got this, what should I do, Matt? And Matt's like, you know what you should do? I bet some of your students like to come to your house and do art with you. You should charge $5,000, have them come to our house with you. And that person's like, oh, I'm gonna do it. And then the third person came on, same advice. After 3 times in a row, I was like, you know what I should do? I should have people come to my house and I'll show them how I'm doing my potato gun business, right? And so I sent an email out to this little list I had of people who bought the DVD. I was like, hey, you saw the DVD, right? How many of you guys like to come to my house? And I'm gonna show you guys how we actually, and send, word for word. I sent out like that night after the thing went out. And I remember I set up a PayPal button. That's all it was, PayPal button, $5,000. I sent a link to this PayPal button. And I sent it out. And next morning I woke up and nothing happened. I was like, oh man, that Matt Fury scammed me. And then waiting, and then sure enough, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm sitting there working on whatever, and all of a sudden there's a ding, ding. I look over and my PayPal account hit $5,000. Someone bought it. And I was like, someone made me $5,000 for me to teach them how I made a potato gun business. And I was like, I didn't know what to do, And then like the next day, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, boom, second one came through. I was like, I have 2 people who just sent me $5,000 to do a thing. And then I had a third. So 3 came through. And I was just like, okay, so I made like 15,000. Like that's more money than I made my entire potato gun business up to that point, that fast. And then I was like freaking out because I'm like, I don't know how to run an event, or I'm like, I don't even know what to do. I've never done this before. And so I'm kind of freaking out. And so I like rented this hotel room just actually down the street from here. And then I remember thinking like, if I had paid $5,000 to learn from this guy, and if I showed up and it was just me and 2 other people, I'd be like, am I in the wrong room? So I call all my friends, my family members. I'm like, you guys want to come out and like, I have some people who paid $5,000 to learn this stuff. You guys want to come and learn too? Like, you're invited. Just don't tell them you didn't pay, because I need to make sure there's some people in the room. And so my friends, my dad came, my family members, and we did this little event with like 30 people. And for 3 days, I taught this process, and it was the coolest thing in the world. They loved it. Everyone loved it. I recorded it all. And that's like the way I got started the very first time, was just like, I put the offer out there, not thinking anyone would buy it, and 3 people bought. And then I was like, now I'm in business. Now I'm like, I'm now officially a business coach, And it started the wheels. And I was just like, this is crazy that people would pay me for that. But like we talked about, it's like, I was showing them how I was building a $5,000 a month business. For them to pay $5,000, learn to make $5,000 a month, that's 1/10. If they do it over 10 months, like it's a no brainer at that point. So it's like you said, creating something where the value is there, where it's not, it seems inexpensive, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't seem expensive.
Yeah, the value is worth way more than the cost.
Yeah. It's interesting because I look at like how I launch businesses today, new businesses, new brands we go into, because most people, they do, especially nowadays, I'm going to run Facebook ads, or I'm going to, like that's the default, which especially if you're a beginner's hard, because it's like, when we run challenges, we're spending, $3 to $5 to $10 per lead. If you're a beginner, you're not going to be able to charge, you're not going to be able to spend that. Like it doesn't work. So what we're doing, even in businesses that we do have some money, but I don't want to front load the cash up front.
Right.
What I do, this is the simplest thing. I grab my phone and I open up iTunes, I go to the podcast directory, I find my categories like business or health or whatever it is, relationships. You go there, and then iTunes will show you the top 200 shows in your space.
Wow.
And so all you do is then you go to the shows, and every single one of the shows. Yeah, it's the easiest free, it's the most easy free traffic. And then the key is like, you can't just go with like, hey, will you put me on your podcast? Because they're not going to do it. Like you went to your dude and you had a hook, right? You had a different angle, something unique that you could bring his audience. And so you got to figure out like, what's the thing, again, you come back to like, what's the problem you're really good at solving, like the best in the world. And you find your category. And if you're the best in the world at solving that specific problem, like if I was going to relaunch my business today, I would go to the top 100 business podcast, top 200, message everyone like, hey, my name's Russell Brunson. I'm the best on the planet at doing funnels. I'd love to come do a free training on your podcast, teaching how your people can use funnels. And if I message the top 200 people in iTunes, if I get 10 to say yes, that's $1 million business right there. That's it, right?
Absolute gold.
We have the same thing with, we have a personality profiling company we're launching called Understand.me. And so the same thing's like, well, how are we gonna get traffic? I'm like, well, the niche, the guru in our space is Mandy. Mandy's like she's really, really good at this thing, like personality profiling. But so we go to personal development, and there's a million personal development podcasts, but her angle is like, hey, here's how to take personality profiles to understand yourself better and understand the people you love. That hook, now every single person is going to say yes. So we're literally had this talk 2 days ago. Next week, we're going through hitting the top 200 podcasts. If we get 10 people say yes, 10 audiences she's in front of, that changes the game overnight without paying for single ads. So same thing. It's like figuring out like who's already got the audience. You are really good at solving a problem that's unique to you that no one else has. And you come in there and you pitch yourself as like, hey, I can be on your show and I can share this thing. Like that's
it's game changer
that fast.
Yeah, it's game changer. It's so interesting that people think that you have to have all of the resources. You just have to be resourceful enough to tap into the resources. It doesn't have to be about you. In fact, it never really is about you anyway. I think the best advice I can give to beginners is never assign a level of difficulty to an endeavor before you even do something about it, before you engage in the activity. The only place that anything is ever really hard is in your head before you do it. People say, well, this is hard. Well, everything's hard if you don't know how to do it. And so what happens is if we approach it from the standpoint that it's difficult, then we will practice it with the belief that it's difficult, and then we will prove to ourselves that we're right. If it's difficult, it's not stronger than you. It's not bigger than you. It's not better than you. It doesn't matter if you're 6, 16, or 65. When you landed on this planet, you couldn't walk, you couldn't talk, you couldn't ride a bike, you couldn't use a phone, you couldn't use a computer, you couldn't hold a fork in your hand, you couldn't hold your head still. All you have to do, if you're watching me right now on YouTube, all you have to do to know that you can succeed is this. Look in the rearview mirror of your life. Look at all of the things that you have learned. Take inventory of them. If nothing else, that will show you there's nothing you can't learn.